Well, finally, we've got some sunny skies. You know, I read the paper on a couple of days ago, and it just said sunny, 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 sunny.
Yeah.
And yesterday it rained. Hello?
Rained yesterday?
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was downtown. I was at Home Hardware, and it was raining.
Well, it must have been just on that street.
No, it was raining. I mean, bald guys can tell.
At the end of the day.
Bald,
when it was?
Bald guys can tell when it rains, okay?
Yeah.
The first drop.
Yeah.
I don't even have to.
The meteorologists, every one of them.
Every these bald guys are meteorologists. Okay, well, that's silly.
Well, they make the best meteorologists, let's put it that way.
I know. Okay, well, this is the AM 1150 Garden Show, and this is Don Burnett and Ken Salville with you to talk gardening, and on a beautiful fall Saturday. Let's do the tips and plants of the week.
You betcha.
Well, I did one last week, and I'm going to repeat it this week on purpose, okay? And that is pick up some bulbs to plant out this fall. This is time to plant those tulips and crocus and daffodils and narcissus and alliums and you name it. Hyacinths and... Yeah. Speaking of grape, I've got a grape hyacinth blooming in my garden right now.
That's strange, but
It is strange. Yeah. Weird. Anyway.
It's backwards.
Yeah. It's upside down. It's because I went to Australia last fall.
Oh, that's what it is.
It's just kind of dragged on with me. Okay, so that's pickups, and these treasures will surprise you in the spring. My plant of the week is fall crocus. Now, I've got two pictures. I've got the actual crocus sativa, the saffron crocus,
right,
and I've got colchicum, which is technically. Well, it is a crocus, but it's not it's a weird crocus.
It's not. I don't wonder if it's even related. That's interesting.
Both of these bulbs will bloom in the fall upside down. They come up with foliage in the spring, and then they bloom in the fall. So there you go.
Yep. Interesting. All right. I also have a tip and a plant this week, and my tip of the week is that you got to get your irrigation blown out. This is the time to do it, and this is the last call for irrigation blowouts. Our company, KHS, is not taking any more clients. We are overloaded, but call your local irrigator and find out if you can get on the list if you haven't, or if you're not sure. If you move from a warmer climate to the Okanagan, you know you have to have your irrigation blown out every fall, and that's what needs to happen. All right, now my plant of the week this week is the barberries, just barberries in general. They're prickly little guys. The deer won't eat them, but they do have really, really nice fall color. And so I'm really enjoying a lot of the barberries right now as they're starting to intensify. Their foliage color's looking great. My favorite one is called Emerald Carousel, and it's a green-leafed barberry, but has the most spectacular fall color, and it's just a great plant. So Emerald Carousel, it's a good one. And that's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check KelownaGardens.com.
Great, Ken. How big does Emerald Carousel get?
You got to expect at least 5 feet high.
Oh, it is. It's a good size.
And about 6 feet wide at least,
size,
if not even a bit more than that.
Similar like Ruby Carousel.
Yes. Yeah. Ruby Carousel, interestingly enough, is a little more upright almost, because I would say that the Emerald Carousel is almost rounded.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, I don't trim my shrubs, so I let them always grow whatever shape they want to grow. That's the shape they should be, so they're not trimmed. So that's the effect that you want to have for sure.
No, we're talking barberry here, Ken. Barberry has taken this huge resurgence in popularity and development. They've developed so many more varieties and whatnot, and sizes and shapes and colors and you name it. I grew up in the gardening industry in the 60s. That's when I cut my teeth. That's when I started absorbing information. And one of the more common hedges in those days was barberry, and there were two varieties available, and they weren't even called a variety. They were just called the green barberry and the purple barberry, just two kinds, right? And they were used as hedges. You can still see some of those old hedges around, but they're few and far between. About 1968-69, the government came up, the people, the plant protection people came up with the thought, actually incorrectly, They were thinking that barberry, they had discovered that barberry was affecting the wheat, causing a rust on the prairie wheat.
Right.
And so, but this is not barberry, Berberis thunbergii. This is Berberis, the native barberry, Berberis vulgaris. I think that's Berberis vulgaris. Anyway, the Berberis thunbergii got grouped in. This is what happens even in humans. They group one barberry in with the rest, and a bad one with all the good guys. Anyway, so they made this big blanket thing. No more barberry, period. We couldn't grow it in the Okanagan. Even though we didn't have prairie wheat here, they were concerned that we were going to ship these things out to the prairies.
Yeah.
And, or tourists would come and pick up some barberry and take it to the prairies. So no more barberry. The 70s, no barberry. The 80s, no barberry. The 90s, no barberry till about 1998, maybe 7. They started
talking
down in the
about
States,
it, yeah.
and they started discovering, no, it wasn't the barberry, Berberis thunbergii, it was the other one.
The vulgaris.
The vulgaris. And so, anyway.
Which is native. That's a native.
It's a native one, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then what happens is they started to get excited and started breeding and developing all these new varieties. And
the Japanese barberries are just beautiful things.
Yep.
And like I say, the deer don't eat them. They're an easy shrub to grow. Yeah. They're quite drought tolerant. I find them just survive just about anything. When they're newly planted, like anything, they're not drought tolerant, but nothing is. But when once it's established, it's an easy plant to grow, and you don't really trim it at all. It grows its normal.
Well, you have to pick the right one.
That's right. Right one for the right spot, right?
Pick the right barberry. Because as you say, some of them, I was asking about how large the carousels get. Yeah. And you were saying they can get to be 5 feet tall.
And I always try to count, that's in 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So in a 10-year period, that's sort of what I use as a guide, because then at that point you're going to rejuvenate. And with shrubbery, there's if you're properly caring for shrubbery, you're constantly rejuvenating every year a little bit. So you're kind of keeping it in check at all times, but not by hedge trimming, because the hedge trimming ruins the shape of it and it ruins the actual form. There's no form, and it just makes it grow faster, especially if you're trimming in the springtime. So if it's a little tiny barberry that is supposed to stay small, well, then you can hedge trim those. But really, you put a plant where it's supposed to grow, and then you just leave it. And whatever it grows like, that's what it's supposed to be. And then what you do is selective removal of parts of the plant to just keep it in check. And a little bit each year is all you need to do.
Yeah, and get that new growth coming from the bottom, not from the top.
Yeah, and the bigger barberries, what I do is I remove branches from around the base of it so I can get underneath it for raking out leaves and that sort of thing. So I bring it up a little bit, but the top just keeps its own shape, whatever it wants to.
One more thing on barberry. Back in the 60s, people would say, well, what can I plant to keep kids and dogs out of my yard?
Yeah, there you go.
Barberry.
Barberries and pyracantha.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Virginia creeper. Wow. Is it ever putting on a show this fall?
Yeah. Well, this is a great year for fall color because it's coming on just so nice, and now it's actually warming up. It's we're going to have a beautiful week here, and we're going to see some fabulous fall color.
Yeah, and they're talking. Of course, I can't rely on the darn forecast, but whatever. They are saying that I think later this week it's going to dip down into a frost. And when they say in the paper, when you see or most of the presentations on the weather at this point in time, what you're seeing is airport. They're talking about the airport temperatures.
And it's frost pockets, right? Like at my house was about probably +1, but at the bottom of my driveway was freezing, so the cars were frosted down on the street, but on my house I didn't have any frost.
You've often said, frost is like a river, an avalanche of just flowing down into the because it's heavier air, right?
Yeah, it sits right on the ground. Yeah.
Interesting.
It flows like water down the streets. And so even if you have shrubs that are on the street side, they are getting more frost than ones that are maybe up by the house or whatever, depending on the lay of the land. If you're just down in a valley, certain spots out in Glenmore, there's a few maybe spots, frost pockets, and the whole valley just pools.
blooming
and
like
fills up
crazy
with
too. You got to have a
cold
look
air.
at those flowers.
And, yeah, it's interesting, but
Not
much you can do about it. Just enjoy
spectacular
it.
bloomers,
Enjoy
but they
it.
look pretty
Plants are
nice,
used
and
to
they're
it,
kind of
so-
fragrant
Enjoy
at
this
night.
shoulder season. You know,
Not
I
quite
keep
as
talking
nice
to
as
my
the regular
relatives out in
Nicotianas.
Alberta. I don't
But,
mean to pick on Alberta
yeah, pretty-
because I
pretty
love the
interesting
province. It's a
plant.
beautiful part of Canada. Oh,
Big
it's
leaves.
special.
And
But
yeah,
boy,
And they've had, don't they have a bunch of snow right now?
oh,
big ones.
a lot of areas in Alberta are really having winter almost.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're gonna take your calls 250-862-2525 to get through to Ken and I this morning. We'll talk about anything you like to phone in about, mainly gardening, of course, but that's, I like talking history and like talking about our beautiful city. I want to wish a happy birthday to Charlie's Angel. That's Teresa Hodge. Charlie's Angel. Yeah, she's got a birthday here. And happy birthday, Teresa. So, 250-862-2525. I've just decided that this is the time of year I got to put Mojo to bed. We'll keep him sort of there, on standby, right? My automatic auto
Your
mower.
robot.
My robot
lawnmower.
auto mower, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mojo. He's sitting there just waiting in the sidelines there because the lawn's not growing very quickly right now. But boy, Ken, what a neat thing! I mean, I haven't touched my lawnmower, haven't plugged it in. I had an electric lawnmower, and I haven't plugged it in for 2 months now. And Mojo just comes out and does his thing. Once in a while, he gets stuck, but it tells me. You get a little warning on my phone. Mojo's stuck. So I got to go out. I got to go out and get him unstuck. But he's good. He's pretty reliable, and you don't realize it until around the odd edge that he doesn't get to. Like there's a couple of spots there where he doesn't get to. You can see how long the lawn would be if he wasn't out there doing his thing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're amazing, and like you were saying, is that trimming at a constant rate actually makes the grass grow so much thicker.
Yeah, it does,
because it doesn't have that opportunity to grow upwards so much, but it just thickens up and grows horizontally, which is kind of fun.
That's the Husqvarna Automower, that is available at Savoy Equipment, boy. Just
got to put a little snowplow on that thing.
A little snowplow, and my granddaughter keeps wanting to ride it, but no, can't do that.
No,
it's not big enough for that.
No saddles allowed. On that
yeah, I'm going to be putting some things to bed, Ken. In the garden, the colocasia is going to bed. My colocasia is going to be dug up and gone to bed, and my purple fountain grass. And we'll talk about that. I'm going to build a little sanctuary for them. We'll talk about that because there's a couple of things that you have to do to make things come through the winter. We're going to take a short break, and we invite your calls, 250-862-2525 to get through to us today, and we'll be back with more AM 1150 Garden Show. We are back with you and enjoying every darn minute of it because it's a fall day in Kelowna town, and Kelowna, let's face it, Kelowna is the nicest spot in the world to live. The Okanagan. Let's not just say Kelowna. The Okanagan. We're just blessed here in the Okanagan to be here, and so here we are on the garden show, and we want to welcome you. In fact, we're opening the lines 250-862-2525, and we'd like to welcome Colin to the show. Oh, it's Rick. I'm sorry. I thought how come we've got? Got one thing blinking, and Rick is on the line. Good morning, Rick.
Morning, fellas. I'd like your opinion on some roots, okay?
Sure.
My house, they're building a fourplex next door. They're going to build it, and they're going to start digging. Between myself and the neighbor, there is about 1.5 foot high concrete retaining wall. And then there's a fence. The other side of the fence, there's a lilac bush. This thing, I've been here since 95, and when I got here, it was huge. The branches would come over in my deck. They were that big, and I liked it forever. Now what's happening is they're going to cut that down next door. From the retaining wall to my sewer that's buried is about 1.5 foot. Is that lilac going to have roots that are going to interfere with my sewer, do you think?
They're digging it out?
What they're going to do is they're going to pull it out. They're just going to pull it right out.
Okay.
I'm afraid that the roots may go down. I've had the camera go in there once, and it doesn't look like there's any roots in there, but would it affect my sewer? Are they that long, the roots, do you think?
Well, it depends on how deep your sewer is, but I'm assuming it's probably 3 feet deep.
Yeah, we're looking at about 2.5 feet.
2.5.
From downtown, so it's 2 to 3 feet, somewhere in that range.
Ken, we're looking back and forth. What do you think, Ken? I mean, I don't think lilac roots are going to be down there.
No.
Rick's worrying that the lilac roots might be wrapping around the sewer, and when they pull it out, it might lift.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't. I don't think it's going to cause any problem at all. But the roots will trace and follow pipes that sweat on the outside, right? So any pipe that's got basically any liquid running through it at all, it's going to
especially
sweat.
warm bath water.
Yeah, what do you bet? Yeah, it's going to be sweating, and then on the outside, that's the roots will find that eventually. But you know what? The lilacs are not. The roots that they have would be very small, and I wouldn't expect it to be any kind of an issue. If it's a big tree that has,
this
roots
isn't a tree.
that can
this
be
is an actual bush.
Yeah,
we've about a dozen branches coming off. Second thing, if they cut it, which they probably will, they'll dig down and cut it. Will it grow again?
Well, the roots can shoot up from lilacs. They can. It's
a possibility. I don't want a definite answer, but when they do that, I just don't. Number one, I don't want them pulling it out and affecting my sewer system. Number two, if they just cut it, then
if they just cut it, then you're going to have lots of suckering roots. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Boy, okay. Yeah, but it won't affect my sewer. That's the main thing I'm concerned about.
I don't think so, Rick, because
I don't think so.
where do you have a basement washroom?
I do not have a basement.
Okay.
I've just got a crawl space.
Okay. Yeah, it's got to be deep enough to be frost free, and that's 2.5 feet. So,
my down below my basement's my crawl space frost free.
Yeah, no, I think you're fine.
Okay.
Because I mean, a lilac's roots, as with most plants, do spread out more than go down. They're not like a petunia or something that. When you see a petunia root, they go down for water. That kind of this herbaceous plants do, and even them they spread out wide too. But woody plants are trying to interact with the surface of the ground, and so that's why they have what they call a root platter. And so we have to keep remembering that when we talk about trees. That can be a good thing because it doesn't go down deep and affect various infrastructure. But it's also a bad thing because on large trees, those surface roots can get under sidewalks and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. I was just more concerned that they would start shooting straight down. But if they're a foot or two under the surface, that's fine. That's not an issue at all.
You bet.
Yep.
Okay, thank you,
sir.
Have a
Thanks,
good day.
Rick. Appreciate it.
Yep.
You betcha. And now we have AIM. We have AIM on the line. Good morning, AIM.
Yeah, good morning, Don. How are you doing today?
Well, thanks.
Good. Yeah, I got a peculiar problem here. I've got 2 rows. I got 3 rose bushes, 2 of them. And then I give me any blossoms at all. And they're about 15 years old now. And the thing is this, I just wondered what I could be doing wrong or giving them fertilizer or whatever. I did cut them back pretty good as far as pruning goes. Is that my crime?
Well, it depends on what type of rose you have. If a lot of the roses like hybrid teas, floribundas, grandifloras, and that, you cut them hard back, they're going to bloom again. But there are some roses that bloom on old wood. And so they have to have that old wood, shrubby roses. Ken, maybe you can expand on that.
There's lots of roses that actually need to have old growth or last year's wood to bloom on. So maybe that's what you have. And so you might try not pruning them for a year and see if it makes any difference. That would just solve that issue right there.
If not, kick them out.
Yeah, if not, pull them out. But remember that there's also roots that are like a lot of roses are grafted onto root systems, and the roots are a different rose, and so they call it going wild, and that means that the top grafted part dies, but the roots stay alive and continue to grow. And some of those roots that do come back, they don't produce a lot of flowers sometimes, and if they do, they're usually a large rambling rose, and they do also bloom better on old wood. So, yeah.
Yeah. It was this thing gave beautiful rose petals, blossoms and all that. And since I cut it back, I didn't cut it back drastically, but I gave them a haircut, And obviously they don't like it at all.
No.
Could be one of those ones that needs to bloom on the older wood.
These larger blooms, AIM, or smaller blooms on them?
They're larger bloom.
Oh, are they? Okay. It's interesting.
give it a try. Don't cut them this year. Just let them go. And
is this the first year that this has happened?
No, this is second, and I just trimmed them back yesterday, and I'm afraid I made a big mistake.
Did you prune them last year as well?
Yeah.
I'm wondering here. I'm wondering. Just looking back, okay, they could be hybrid teas. They could have died and gone wild. Like
2 years ago, we had that bad cold snap, and it killed a lot of roses.
Yep, they could have died. The top could have died. Now you're dealing with just young, or not young, but wild growth from the rootstock. And if you let that go, it will eventually bloom. But it blooms like a wild rose, a single wild rose. Yeah. It's a Dutch. They bring in that rootstock generally from Holland.
7 feet tall, maybe more.
That's what we're thinking right now. I mean, Ken and I have mental telepathy going back and forth.
Yeah, it's either one or the other. I mean, there's only two options in this case. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. I'll just tie them back and rescind from trimming them the way I have been. I thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, you take care. Good luck.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye
now.
Yeah, pretty.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean that, and nowadays there are some roses that are grown from tissue culture on their own rootstock.
I think they're just fun to grow.
But generally speaking, the traditional rose was grafted onto a rootstock, a wild rootstock. Well, I call it wild, but it's a specific one.
It's just a seedling, one. Yeah. They're a seedling rootstock.
It's I forget which one it is, but it's a specific one that they use because it's strong.
Yeah, we see that it's a double. There's a little. It's like a semi-double little red rose that comes out on them sometimes.
Yeah,
and that's a common one too. But I think it's the same one, and there's a percentage of them come out as semi-double, and some of them come out as singles.
They're just seedlings.
Yeah, they're just but they're really good rootstock because they do have those really strong roots. They're disease resistant. They're vigorous. They have a lot of attributes, but they just don't produce the flowers that we want to see. So they use them for grafting. It works really well.
You betcha, Ken. One thing I want to do. I've got my buddy Sal Caruso. Oh, he's a giant. He really is. He knows stuff. He knows stuff.
Yeah, and he has some. Cool
he's such an
stuff,
experimenter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He gave me a handful of almonds the other day.
Oh, yeah.
From his almond tree. And he's got a good-sized almond tree. And they taste like almonds. They look like a tiny peach because they got fuzz on them and that. When you crack them open, there you have your almond, right? Mm-hmm. Now, they don't look... The leaf doesn't look like the same almond. When I was down in Mexico, my sister was showing me an almond orchard. Well, it's an almond orchard. The leaf doesn't look the same. No. And so I don't know if almonds are actually a prunus. You think? The almonds you buy in the grocery store, are they prunus? Is it a prunus?
They don't produce like the way what we see those peaches producing. Okay. So it's a similar thing, but...
Sure tastes like an almond. And it looks like an almond, and it feels like an almond.
Yeah.
Now, from there, I take it to you.
Yeah. There was a time I remember years ago researching that because I was interested in California where they have the big almond orchards, and they've been having problems with them suffering with all the droughts going on. And but anyway, they're an interesting tree. They look different for sure. They're a different plant, but. I can't remember what I researched, but that's okay. One day it'll come back.
You betcha. And
it'll come back in a dream.
Ken, there's always Google.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay?
You can look
there's
it up.
Always Google. So, 250-862-2525. We're going to take a short break. It's the bottom of the hour, and we invite your calls. We'll be back with more AM 1150 Garden Show. You betcha, on a sunny Saturday morning, fall Saturday morning, crispy fall Saturday morning. Not quite crispy, but pretty nice.
It was kind of chilly out there this morning, but sure nice. Nice
close.
To see the sun.
It was close. Yep. It was close, I'll tell you. Pat, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm looking for some help to decide what to do with a couple of trees we have in our yard. They're 25 to 30-foot trees. It's the purple ash and the concolor fir, and the purple ash is interfering with the concolor fir. Mm-hmm. We thought we had to sacrifice one or the other, decide which one, because the way they're growing. Mm-hmm. But someone has suggested that if we just trim the purple ash up the side that's nearest to the concolor fir, that it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Well, I can send you a picture of a concolor fir that's pretty darn big. I mean, they get huge. Yes. The ash is not going to get nearly as big as a concolor, although the better tree of the two right there, that concolor fir is one of my favorites.
Yeah, they're long-term.
It is a beauty, yeah.
Long-term deal. So how close, like, physically, like, between the trunks? What's the distance?
Between the trunks, Brian, is that about 12 feet apart?
Yeah.
That's
tight. That's tight.
Yeah. So what'll happen is you could do that. You could remove all the branches on the fir side, and then what the fir would do is it would lean outwards from underneath this tree as the big tree grows. The fir has more value, so it's the long term sort of prize.
As long as you can accommodate that thing, because
and they compete with their roots too, right? 12 feet apart.
We're on a big property, and we have a few of those around.
Well, the concolor fir, if you've got a few of them around, that adds to the interest here. However, the concolor fir can get 20 or 30 feet wide at the base. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm talking. But I don't know what your age is, but it won't be 30 feet wide
it won't be in my
lifetime. But I'm just saying. Because I've got a picture of one up in East Kelowna. It's a fabulous, beautiful tree. And I've got a picture of me standing at the base of it, holding my arms out. And I'm just miniaturized by that whole scenario. It's so huge. It's a big, big tree, but a beautiful tree.
Yes.
It is a bit of a dilemma. The ash is certainly less valuable than the concolor fir, but if you've got a lot of concolor firs around, But I would start by pruning the ash, as Ken said. Prune that ash up the side so it gives the concolor fir some room to breathe. Okay. And at the end of the day, it'll be the ash that gets booted out.
Okay, all right. I actually, just because of the way our yard is set up, when we thought we had to sacrifice one, we decided this concolor fir would have to be the one to go, because the ash kind of fits along with other trees that are running in a line with it.
Right.
But so I guess that's why we were hesitant to do anything to the ash, thinking, well, that's the one we would save. But if you think we can do that, if we can prune it up that side, now would that be a job for a professional, or can we just go and chop off branches?
Ooh, well, I don't like that terminology, but
no.
You want to come to either Ken or my pruning sessions in the spring, okay? And we'll tell you all about it, or you can even give me a call at home, and I can elaborate on don't cut too close to the trunk, try and maintain the integrity. Large branches cut close to the trunk are going to cause big decay cavities, so you want to really be careful what you do.
How big is the trunk on this ash?
It's at least 15 inches diameter, I would say.
Big tree already.
Oh, on the concolor?
No, on the ash.
On the ash, on the ash. I would say, looking at it, it's about 15 inches diameter.
It's and it's healthy?
Yeah.
It's healthy?
Yeah, my husband concurs. I'm not a very good judge of that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a big tree, so it'll be interesting. It's a bit of a job, but it can be done for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but cutting large branches off a big tree like that, close to the trunk, that portion dies, and it's going to create a decay cavity and problems. It doesn't heal or occlude as well as smaller branches. That's why in our pruning sessions, we always talk about those first 5 years are so important to get the shape of the tree, because you can make small cuts that aren't going to cause any decay cavities.
Okay. So you would suggest then spring is the time to do this, not now, not fall?
Spring would probably be better, early spring.
Yeah, late winter, early spring, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for your advice. We maybe just saved the life of a tree.
There you go. That's our goal.
Okay. Go have a glass of wine and cheer the tree.
Yeah.
Okay. Take care.
Yeah. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye now. And we're going to go to Sandy. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. I've got some fancy daylilies in pots between 16 and 20 inches. Do you think those will come through the winter as is, or should I bury them in sawdust boxes?
No, they're pretty tough. Most daylilies survive the cold quite easily. Desiccation is one thing that can sort of affect them a little bit. So drying out, when they're in a container, it's more difficult to get moisture into that container over the winter months.
Yeah.
But the cold isn't usually an issue with them.
Okay.
because they will survive, like, in Edmonton and places like that. So around here, we don't get that kind of cold winter.
All right. I'm running out of places to put things for the winter.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, no, I think they're fine. Just wherever they are, just make sure you throw some snow on them or give them some water if it warms up in the wintertime. Keep them some...
Well, they're kind of out in the open, so they should get enough of...
Yeah, we'll check them.
Whatever we have.
It's amazing how desiccating the Okanagan is. We get a lot of evaporation, a lot more than we get precipitation, and the precipitation doesn't always land in the pot where we need it. So,
okay.
Yep, keep an eye on it.
Sure, thanks.
Thanks,
Right.
Sandy.
Thanks
Take care.
calling.
Yep, bye-bye.
Speaking of that, have you ever noticed, Ken, in the wintertime, if it could be freezing, and it's not getting above freezing, okay? But it's a dry freeze. There's no snow. There's no, and you got mud puddles or ice formed on the driveway. Do you ever notice in the dry Okanagan how that ice actually evaporates and shrinks?
It does. Yeah.
It's shrinking, and yet it hasn't.
It's literally subliming, right? It's not above freezing. So it's not really evaporation, but more like sublimation, where it's going straight from ice to a gas. It's just that there's so much. It's so dry, the air, especially when it's cold, that it just it dehydrates itself.
Yeah. And I often tell people that's what happens, to a root system. In the small plant planted
This
at this
guy's
time of year.
got to be at least
and,
7 feet tall, maybe
advise
more.
people, please water it in. I had a landscaper
Blooming like crazy too. You got to have a look at those
don't.
flowers.
I was given some advice, and I'm not going to say where, but I was given some
Not
advice.
spectacular bloomers.
Yes, you can
they
plant
look pretty nice, and they're kind of fragrant at night.
Some lawn seed right now.
Not
but just
quite
be
as
careful,
nice
'cause
as
this
the
week it
regular
might freeze
Nicotianas.
a little bit. And
But,
you've got to wait for a bit until
pretty
the danger
interesting
of frost
plant.
isn't there for a few days, because
Big leaves.
that seed, when it germinates,
And,
could freeze.
Yeah.
And
I think they're just
here's
fun
the
to grow.
logic that I look at. I can
big
understand
ones.
somebody thinking that, but the logic I look at is that this is when grasses ripen and drop their seed in nature.
And some germinates and some doesn't. And even in the spring, though, when it's germinating, it freezes in the spring. So grass is a prairie plant, right? So the thing about whenever you're growing lawns or grass, just remember that it's a prairie plant. So that's the conditions that it would like. It doesn't like to grow under trees, and the trees don't like it growing under them.
No, that's right.
They want to be out in the field where it's wide open, and drying out between waterings would be normal, and keeping them constantly moist would be abnormal. So, but then again, there's a happy medium in there as well. So if they're too dry, you'll see them start to revert back to their bunchiness. They turn back into being bunch grasses. Because of we've talked on the show about alleopathy before, and that's where plants that give off chemicals that reduce competition. Right. So that's where bunch grasses, when you look up on the hillsides, you see the bunch grasses.
Evenly planted.
They're 5 feet apart, exactly, and you wonder, I wonder who planted those. They're all the same distance apart. Yeah. But of course, it's their own. They're giving off chemicals that reduce competition, and the other plants can't germinate nearby or grow. And it's the same in a lawn. If you let your lawn dry out, those chemicals that are given off by the grasses start to build up in the soils, and then, of course, they turn back into being bunch grasses again. And that's how I can tell if I go to a property and I see the lawns all like little tufts everywhere, then I know right away, this has been through a long period of drought, or not enough, not actually enough to leach away and wash away those chemicals. When we're fertilizing or watering lawns over and over and over and over again, you never get any of those chemicals building up. They're continuously diluted. So it's an interesting little family going on out there in the lawn.
And the other interesting thing is, too, we as human beings and gardeners, we want a plethora of things growing in our yard, because that's what we are. We're gardening, right? Well, naturally, a lot of these things don't cohabit. They don't live together in nature, and we're trying to force them into being together, like forcing plants to stay together, and they don't want to be together. And you were saying, the grass does not like growing under trees, and trees don't like grass growing under them. Nope. And there's meadows, and then there's shrubbery and forests. Yeah. And what grows under the forest? There are mushrooms and moss and things like that.
Certain shrubs.
Certain shrubbery will. But grass is not one of them. Grass is an open prairie, open
Yeah,
thing.
wherever the trees disappear, the grasses grow in.
Yeah.
That's
right.
That's the way it goes.
Right. So you got to think about it. And I remember a situation years ago. We're going to take a short break here, but a situation years ago where I put a bunch of seed in. It was up in on Fairway Crescent actually, and we put some grass seed in for a gal, and we raked it into the snow. It was snowing that day, and we were raking the grass seed into the snow. It was late November kind of thing, and getting the job done, and we got it done. And in the spring, I went over to check things out, see how things are going. I think it was by maybe end of March, early April. Green grass coming up all over the place, except for under the trees where it wasn't getting any water. Mm-hmm. Moisture was snow and everything was watering everything on the open areas, and it was so under the trees there was no growth whatsoever. So
and that's another note we can talk about, how trees really don't want water underneath them, do they?
That's right. That's why they have the
that's
drip line.
not normal in nature. That's where trees breathe. Their lungs are the base of the tree. Those surface roots where they got to be dry, but beyond the drip line can be really nice and wet. Yep. It's an interesting world.
Oh, it's fascinating, and we're really getting deep today, but that's okay. 250-862-2525. If you want to get deep with us, we're here to help you get deep, and we'll be back with more AM 1150 Garden Show. Yeah, we're back with you, and Daisy, we got a short period of time before the 9 o'clock news, but we'll have a full hour after that. We do have some time for a call or two, if you like. 250-862-2525 to get through to us today. It is a wonderful time of the year. We've talked about that quite often, how, the shoulder seasons in the Okanagan, early spring, and then fall, of course, are beautiful in the Okanagan. It's what makes us a little bit separate from, Vancouver. They don't really have a distinctive fall period of time. They just gets wet.
Drop.
Yeah, the leaves drop and they get wet and whatever. But
their spring is so much earlier. But speaking of that, that's one reason why we like to go down to the Northwest Flower and Garden Show, is because it gives you this excitement of spring that happens at the end of February, which happens in Seattle, of course, about 3 or 4 weeks ahead of our spring. And it's pretty amazing show there to see all that stuff that's in bloom. And some of it is forced to bloom early just for the show. They put a lot of work into it.
They put a lot of work into it, Ken. And this show, it's around the 14th or 15th time we've gone down to it. I never get tired of it. I never get tired of the show. Don't get tired of Seattle. Just the trip down, the bus trip down. It's an easy bus trip. For those folks who've never been on a bus tour before, you should.
It's pretty easy going.
You should go on.
It's like it is a vacation. It's
a little 4-day break.
No pressure, no stress.
4-day break in the middle of the winter. It's warming, starting to warm up. End of February this year. It's on the February 21st to 24th this year, and it's going to be fun. So if you want to get on the bus with Ken and I this year, call Sun Fun Tours sooner than later. Call Sun Fun Tours. The bus usually fills up, so 250-763-6133. They'll give you all the detail, and we invite you to join us. And we're going to go back to the phone lines, if I can find that. And Addie is on the line. Good morning, Addie. Nice to hear from you.
Good morning, guys. What a glorious day, eh?
It is beautiful.
Sure is.
Beautiful.
I've planted some bulbs in pots because I've run out of garden space. What is the lowest temperature they can take?
Garden mums?
Yeah. No, bulbs.
Bulbs. I'm sorry. Tulips and daffodils and hyacinths and crocus and things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. The lowest temperature they could take in a pot, that depends on how big the pot is, of course. How big is the pot?
It's probably a 2-gallon pot.
A 2-gallon pot. Well, various bulbs, there's some that are a little more tender than others, but the tulips, for instance, are quite hardy. Crocus are quite hardy. You probably get, minus 15 before that? Minus 12?
Oh, really? That much, eh?
Well, I've left tulips out, in the garden, and they're like an inch deep, some of them, because they push themselves up, and they're fine.
I left mine right on the surface.
Yeah.
We go around and place out little piles of bulbs around the yard, and and we'd go around behind and we'd plant them all wherever we placed them.
Forgot one
and
pile?
One pile, a whole stack of these beautiful pink tulips were left, and we just missed them, forgot about them. Well, they all rooted in right on the surface, and you know that one cluster of tulips was my favorite cluster that I ever had.
There you go.
And it was such a beautiful, rich pink. You know, it was a beauty. It was a late flowering
So
one.
I can just
beautiful.
leave them on the deck then.
Oh, I would.
Or you tuck them up against the house a little bit. Just give them a little bit of
Yeah, that's
protection.
where they are. They're up against the house.
If you got an old blanket or something that Bill doesn't use anymore, just put a blanket around.
Oh, is that enough? Really? Okay.
Well, it gives them a little bit
of
protection. But the more tender ones, I would suggest, are going to be your daffodil family and your hyacinths, maybe a little bit more tender.
Okay, the ones I planted mostly are tulips, so but that's okay. So my next question is, I have a tree. I inherited a tree that is full of black berries right now. What is it?
Well, that's a good question. What does it look like? Does it have big, wide leaves or narrow leaves?
It's got narrow leaves.
And is it kind of normally a gray-green color? Gray-green, or is it sort of a glossy, bright green? Or
let me go and stand in front of it.
The leaves are probably changed now, though, right? They're starting to fall.
The leaves are kind of, they look like maple leaves. And right now they're kind of a yellowy color. They're changing for fall, but these black berries grow off clusters, almost like the
mountain ash.
What is it? The mountain ash or whatever it is. But these are black.
Interesting.
I wonder if it's a hackberry.
Yeah.
What you could do is take a picture of that, and take a picture of the cluster of the berries with a couple leaves in the same picture, and just email that to us, and we'll have a quick look and send you back the answer.
Oh, super. Okay.
Yeah, you can, and Addie, you can do it right away because we're high tech here. We got our phones. Okay.
Yeah.
My other question is, I've got a plant called the Mexican fire vine.
Ooh,
Mexican fire vine. There's the Mexican
it grows
bush.
very profusely, and it has beautiful orange flowers on it. I'm wondering if I could overwinter it.
Oh, it would be the same sort of considerations as
got to be at
like
least
the bougainvilleas
7 feet tall, maybe more.
You know, those types of they're
Mandeville?
subtropical
like crazy
plants.
too. You gotta have a look at those flowers.
It's hard to say. Send us a picture of that one too. Getting identification of any plant is the key to knowing what to do with them. So, but with those plants that they're sort of tropical, subtropical.
But,
and what they need is just like your bougainvilleas or even your bergmansias. And those plants, you overwinter them the same way.
Yeah.
I haven't taken my Brumansia in yet, and I'm just waiting for it to get cold enough for me to take some cuttings off of it.
Yep.
How long should I wait?
You can just you can do those cuttings anytime now, and I would consider starting to bring them in soon. I don't want to damage the wood, by having it frozen.
Addie, we're running against the clock here. You want to stay on hold, and we'll get you right after the break?
No, that's fine.
You're good?
That is all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear. Appreciate it.
Addie.
Okay, take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye
and on that note, we're going to take a short break for the news, and we got a whole hour rip-roaring garden show for you when we come back with more AM 1150 Garden Show. So Ken, you know what Elaine Cameron was doing at this time of year? In 1950, this is the fall of 1950. I was well underway to life by that time. I was born on April 14th, 1950. So by this time in the fall,
you were practically grown up.
I was still in diapers, but I could smell the roses, is what I'm going to say. I could smell the roses. And Elaine Cameron, what is it, the 13th today? Well, let's start with the 7th. Let's start with the 11th, okay? On the 11th of October in 1950, she went out and she picked her broad beans. Okay?
There you go.
Last of the broad beans. Weeding and tidying in the rockery. I can see that being done today. Autumn crocus, lovely. Okay? Now, the autumn crocus she's referring to is my colchicum.
Right.
I think. It'd be the colchicum.
Oh, yeah.
But she could have had this saffron crocus too.
There's colchicum there, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's probably the same colchicum.
And the saffron crocus she might have had as well. But, that's where people get a little bit confused when they say fall crocus. because the
two
saffron
completely
saffron crocus
ones.
looks like a spring crocus, the regular spring crocus.
Yeah.
It looks just like that, and it's got this nice yellow stamens on it, and that's where the saffron comes from.
Yeah, it's pollen.
It's the pollen, and the saffron is very, very expensive to buy. But you got to have acres of saffron crocus to make it worth your while. I'm just for fun though. I'm going to harvest mine. I'm going to harvest mine. I got a cluster. I've got a cluster, Ken, about a foot in diameter.
Nice.
Probably
what do you
3 or 4 dozen.
Saffron on though.
3 or 4 dozen.
What would you?
I'm not sure what you put saffron on, but
Gonna find something and use it.
Electrical banana. Oh, that's la da 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 do.
I don't know that one.
That's mellow yellow.
Oh yeah.
I'm just mad about saffron.
Oh yeah.
She's just mad about me. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Okay.
So we have to look up a recipe for you then. Something that would be good to use saffron on, so you can try your homegrown saffron.
So also on October 11th, 1950, Elaine Cameron, she said crocus, the fall crocus, autumn crocus are lovely. And then she went, alyssum and Michaelmas daisies on rockery are making a fine show. Now, that'd be the annual alyssum, of course.
Yeah, that would be
the annual
for sure,
alyssum.
yeah.
And then the Michaelmas daisies are the asters that we spoke about last week. But the Frickart's aster, Frickardia, isn't the Michaelmas daisy. It's similar.
It's not. No, it's not.
It's not. Michaelmas daisies are the tall asters.
It's a group.
Yep.
Yeah. There used to be the tallest asters, and I remember when I first moved to Kelowna, and it would have been like the fall of '86, I guess, and I remember seeing those blooming, and they were about 6 feet tall. And I thought, what the heck are those things? And
no, you don't see
those around much anymore.
No, you don't.
Tall ones.
No, you don't. I had them in my first yard when we purchased a home. It was the old Thorpe house on Glenwood Avenue, 607 Glenwood Avenue, and they had beautiful Michaelmas daisies there. Very subject to mildew, though.
Yeah, well, a lot of those, the old-fashioned varieties are. That's one of the things. Same with the regular asters. They both are affected. But you can get ones that are better than others, that's for sure. Some are known to be resistant, more mildew resistant.
They're developing new ones all the time. Tidying on the rockery on October the 12th, and weeds from the grass seeding. I guess she must have put some grass seed in, and there was little weeds poking up, as you would always get when you sow your lawn. The lawn doesn't just say, "Oh, get away weeds." The weeds come too. So she's out picking those weeds out. Cut the raspberries. Cut rasp grass with Bill's shears. Okay, so this is Bill, her son, Bill Cameron, and cutting the rasps grass. I mean, grass between the raspberry bushes, I guess, with his shears. I guess, and dug some more chrysanthemums. Very good. Lots of color in the garden. Chrysanthemums, right?
Yep.
And she had the big harvest giants, too, the big fatties.
Big disbuds?
Disbudmums, yep. So October 13th, which is today, only 1950, 68 years ago, finished digging raspberry strip, dug the barberries for Mrs. License.
There you go.
Hey.
She was growing some barberries for the license hedge.
Yep. They're going to make a hedge over there. Doug's barberries for Mrs. License. Because the barberries do, especially in those days, the older style, would send out seedlings. That was one of their things. They would spread by seed. And so she's dug those up to give to Mrs. License. Moved the special peony. Now, I don't know what special peony that would have been, but it'd sure be nice to have a piece of it. Set the seedling beauty bush. To birch tree shrubbery.
Oh, there you go. I wonder, that's probably still there, would it be?
Seedling beauty bush to birch tree shrubbery. Well, the birch tree's long gone, Ken, because it got nailed by the bronze birch borer. And I can't remember where that birch tree was, but I do have pictures, so I could figure that one out. But anyway, the beauty bush, the coquetzia, there's still some old coquetzia there.
Yeah, you bet.
Tidied the Cape gooseberry patch. What's a Cape gooseberry? Cape gooseberry.
Have to look it up.
Yep.
Some ribes of some sort.
Ken's got his gooseberry Google out
Yeah,
right
there
now.
you go.
And dull. She said it's dull. It was kind of dull. Well, here we have a nice sunny day, and October the 13th in 1950, it was dull. Yeah, so there you go. And then, of course, on the 14th, the next day, she was getting the weeds out of the backyard, and 9 autumn crocus in flower. October 15th, she picked the rest of the Wagner's. Wagner's, that's apples. Wagner's are apples, Ken. I've got a sign, Wagner apples. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, sorry.
I found out what that is. It's a ground cherry.
Oh.
It's Cape gooseberry.
Yeah, we used to sell those ground cherries.
Yeah, they're like a tomatilla sort of thing.
Yeah, they're just an
Similar.
annual, like a tomato.
A little sweeter, I guess, yeah.
You bet. And, okay, well, that's it for Elaine Cameron. We'll talk about her next week because that's what we'll do. We'll go back to the garden. It's always fun to have these old writings of Elaine Cameron in her garden. She's amazing.
What's even more fun is to have the garden, which
We still have
exists
the garden.
right down on Cameron
So you can go
in
down
downtown Kelowna. They have the sort of downtown-ish.
Yeah.
Central.
It's Gushiken and Gordon in that neck of the woods. So there was something I was going to say, and it's gone flipping past my mind. I don't know if that happens to you, Ken, but it sure happens to me
All
once
the
in a while.
time.
I was going to go say something, and it flips by me just like crazy. Not crazy glue. If it was crazy glue, it would stick. But it's not.
You need some crazy glue on your memories
Exactly. What else have I got here? We've got to go back to my notes because that'll help me. If you missed the Xeriscape session a couple of weeks ago, you want to learn all about Xeriscape gardening, consider the one in Penticton coming up October 27th. Okay, October 27th, there is a Xeriscape session happening in Penticton, pardon me. And I can tell you all about that. If you want to register, you can register and pay right online. Basically, just go to the website of the Xeriscape Association, OXA. I think it's www.oxa.ca. I believe.
.org, maybe?
.org.
Better check.
We're going to check that out, give you the proper thing, because if you want to go to this thing, it is definitely, if you're thinking of putting in a Xeriscape garden or converting some of your lawn into Xeriscape gardening, taking one of these classes is really a prerequisite to doing that before you do. Because people really don't understand sometimes what Xeriscape gardening is. They're wanting some magical thing to happen, and it's gardening, but it's a wonderful way to garden, and it's certainly in tune with our environment and our climate in the Okanagan. If you garden Xeriscaping like, okay.
Yeah, it says OkanaganXeriscape.org is actually what it says on the plant database anyway.
OkanaganXeriscape.org.
And Xeriscape
This guy's got to be at
an
least
X, so
7 feet
XERI,
tall, maybe more.
SCAPE. So
Blooming like crazy too. You got to have a look
OkanaganXeriscape.org.
at those flowers.
And, you'll find out more information there, and also
Not
just check out the
spectacular
site.
bloomers,
It's very
but they look pretty nice, and they're kind of
Yeah,
fragrant at night.
it's amazing.
Not quite as nice as the regular Nicotianas.
Xeriscape confused
But
with Xeroscape.
yeah, pretty
Yeah,
interesting
there's
plant.
no such thing as Xeroscape.
Big leaves.
And they think it's bad.
It's a mythological
And,
land.
I tell you,
Yeah.
Donna,
think
my
they're just
dear
fun
wife
to
Donna,
grow.
is in Washington right now. Not
They're big ones.
Washington, D.C., but Washington State, just across the border, visiting. She and Alicia went down to visit with Alicia's sister down there, and they do that every fall or every summer sometimes. But she's got a little cabin on the lake, and and they just sit there and they enjoy the lake and take some pictures and chat. Just chat and have a good time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's down there, so I'm batching it. But thank goodness I got this magic fridge. I opened the fridge door. At the freezer, I got frozen pizza. I got frozen pizza. I've got some turkey chili. I've got all sorts of cool things. It's just a magic fridge. I just open it up.
There it is.
You'd think when Donna's gone, I'm going to starve, but no. Just she's created this magic fridge for me, and I just open it up, and and the dishwasher is not magic anymore. I have to fill it.
Yeah, you know what I like is the magic coffee table.
Yeah,
Put everything on the coffee table, and then every day you get home from work, and it's all been put in its right places.
And my magic laundry basket. It's just my magic laundry basket.
Yeah, everything goes into it, and then you just wait about 24 or 48 hours and come back, and it's all folded and put away.
I know.
It's fabulous.
Anyway, I've got all those things. I don't know how long that's going to last, but
I don't think it's going to last very long.
How long my magic is going to last, but anyway,
no.
I miss her already. It's been only 2 days.
Yeah.
She'll be back soon, thank goodness, and we'll carry on with our regular routine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now what we're going to do here? Are we going to take a break, or are we going to take a call? Okay, we're going to take a call, and it's Dennis. Have you got a magic laundry basket, Dennis?
No, I haven't, unfortunately.
Oh.
A question that I asked Ken last year. When I dug my potatoes up last year and peeled them, I had like little black blemishes, and you peel them off, and a few seconds later they come back again. And they were a bit of a pain in the butt, but we managed to eat them. Now this year they're in a different spot, and I've got a very mild version of the same thing. Now, I forgot what Ken told me to do last year, so I'm going to make sure I know it now and write it down. I think he said it was a virus, and I think he said that sulfur would cure it. Was that correct?
Well, there's two issues that would be common, but when you say you have a tiny, like a small black spot, it's usually, but sometimes you'll get tunneling, other kinds of tunneling in there as well.
No, there's no tunneling at all. No.
So it is likely then a fungus. Like I have the same thing on mine. I just try to cut them out when I'm cooking, but it's where the little rhizomes attach. The rhizome rots off, and then inside the potato you get this little black. So there's no tunneling involved at all. It's just a little black. Acts almost like a little. You'd think it would be
thread.
Like a thread inside. Well, it's bigger than that, about an eighth of an inch across or so. But anyway, it's fairly common. And using sulfur when you're planting, so you can use pelletized sulfur is usually the way to go. You can buy sulfur fungicide, and you put it in with the potatoes at planting time, and it helps to prevent those fungus diseases from affecting. If the flea beetle, which is usually the other thing that we think about as an actual insect, but it actually has tunnels that actually tunnel into the plant. And you'll see on the outer part of the potato, you'll see those little cuts and stringy little tunnels that they put in.
Sort of a network of tiny tunnels just under the surface.
And they can turn black too,
You can peel them away. You can peel them away down to a depth of...
Yeah, Barbara's just scribbled a note over my notes and said that we do get the odd tunneling here and there. But the odd tunnel I've seen is a hell of a lot bigger than these little brown.
That might be wireworm or something like that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, Dennis, is the sure sign of flea beetle is when you've got little tiny holes chewed into the foliage. That's the adult chewing, the beetle chewing into the holes in the leaves of the tomato or the potato. And then, of course, the damage happens on the tuber. It's called a tuber flea beetle. Okay? So that's a sign if you have tuber flea beetle, tunneling, and the holes, then that's the tuber flea beetle.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now, my second question is, I've really gone crazy on building compost heaps this year, and I've got 3 on the go.
Nice.
Is it really necessary to keep them dry over the winter?
It's not critical. In the Okanagan, they usually don't get that wet, but they do say, anytime that compost becomes super saturated, where it's sitting in like a puddle of water, it does become quite rancid. Like you get this anaerobic bacteria that gets in there, and it starts to really stink. It stinks up a storm. So better to keep it aerated. So a little bit on the dry side is usually good, but a little bit of moisture is also good, just not too much.
Needs oxygen.
Needs some oxygen in there.
Yeah, well, I'm going out there today to give them all a turn. And most of the stuff they've got in there has been grass and all my cuttings from vegetables and flowers and everything. So it's nearly all greenery.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So it should rot down pretty good by next spring, I hope.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it'll be good. And it's just having that green, something green, like, if you had, the best thing is usually the lawn grass, the lawn clippings, because it's so full of nitrogen. When you put that in and aerate, holy, it gets hot. And that's what you want, is you're looking for heat.
Yeah.
So when you go stir it today, hopefully you get some steam coming out of there.
Hopefully.
Just blow on it. Just blow on it, Dennis. You got lots of hot air there. So.
I knew you were going to say something.
Okay.
Okay. Talk to you
buddy.
again.
Take care. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, and on that note, we're going to take a short break, and we will be back with more AM 1150 Garden Show. Oh, you betcha, and it's a beautiful day, a beautiful fall day, kind of crispy in the morning, not quite real crispy, but we want to welcome Colin to the Garden Show. Good morning, Colin, and I believe it's our mayor, Colin Basran.
It is, in fact. Good morning to both of you.
It's an honor to have you call in, Colin.
Well, thanks for having me. I love what you're doing, what you're promoting for our community. I think it's awesome.
Well, we've been around since 1982. 83 it was. 83 the Garden Show came. No, it was 82 when we started. And I
won't tell you how old I was then when you started that show.
I won't even go there. I was 5. I was
Funny
5.
Enough, so was I, actually.
There we go. Anyway, Colin, it is great to have you call in. And I want to – Ken and I were just talking during the break that you were calling in. And I said Ken said, he said, there's no city like Kelowna that has put so much effort into their parks and their beauty and their cleanliness. And I must really, really commend the folks in the Parks Department and just the city in general for what we do in Kelowna. You can go anywhere and not see this.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, and I'll certainly pass that along to our staff. And funny you bring that up, because one of my first dealings with the city, or employment opportunities, if you will, was as a summer student. I worked for 2 years in our Parks Department. So I got to know some of those parks you're speaking of quite intimately. Getting my hands dirty, planting some of the great flowers we see in the summertime. And so that was really my first introduction to the city. And I always laugh now because some of the people that I worked with then, I guess technically now I'm their boss. So I guess it's a good reminder that, hey, that punk kid that you work with one summer may come back another day and be your boss. So be nice to them. But they were always good to me and treated me well. But that was my first real foray into city business, was as a Parks Department laborer.
Well, Colin, I remember years ago we had the city greenhouses, and then and along the way there was some talk about eliminating them and farming everything out and just doing. I'm so happy that they built the facility on KLO Road and that it is an active, vibrant facility. And we've got a young man working that greenhouse right now that is just really doing a heck of a job. Over the years, there's been some great people. Vic Good was one that was started the city baskets, the moss
and then
baskets.
Mike Denowden, I believe, too, was in there. And I actually worked there when Mike was there. And then I think Jeff Milan for a little while as well, and he may even still be there.
Yeah, Jeff is there. And Jeff Cottle was the original, the guy that I used to go to, an old English fella, and he worked in the 50s and 60s, and that's the first gentleman that I've met that worked in parks. But having said that, Colin, in general, the city promotes community gardens. They promote the gardening. I just think it's great.
Well, I mean, as you know, gardening has so many positive benefits for our community. So we've opened up some of our parks to community gardens, and we'll continue to do that. And then we're also trying to encourage developers in their new projects to include community gardens, because we want to have people living in our town centers, and in order to do that, we still want them to be able to get their hands dirty and grow their own food and various things. So we are promoting it in new developments, not only just for the gardening, but because of the things that it brings. It brings people together, and of course the mental health aspect. That it's just really nice and relaxing to be able to go out there in the sunshine and just do whatever you need to do.
Be at least
and so there's a lot of positive benefits. And another program I'm quite proud of as well is the Neighborwoods program, which allows people to go and pick up some great trees to plant around our community, and we all know the benefit that provides.
And
then of course the bees. We've got to make sure that we have a bee-friendly community. For all of the reasons I'm sure you discuss on your show, is without them, it's a pretty lonely planet.
For sure. And it's fascinating you would talk about promoting or encouraging the developers to enable people to have these little community gardens within those developments. And here's why: because there was a time, and not that long ago. And I've done a lot of consulting with townhouse communities and residential communities, group condo type of communities. And the first thing they say, like when my mother-in-law moved into Wedgwood, and she was such an avid grower of tomatoes, and they wouldn't allow anybody to grow any vegetables at that point in time because I don't know why. I don't know what the reasoning was, but they just didn't want people growing vegetables. And so vegetable gardens, just flower gardens. And so I was this undercover guy that went in and planted 2 tomato plants at Wedgwood. I've got a picture of my mother-in-law leaning out her little patio window with her little trowel digging in these tomato plants. And it was really something. But no, this is great that we're going a different direction now on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so vitally important. And like I say, and I think it's just indicative of the community we are too. I mean, as you two will know, half of the property within the city of Kelowna is agricultural land, and so we've got to make sure we protect that. But give people, as we continue to build our community and protect that agricultural land, it's going to mean that we're going to have people living in our town centers and densifying those town centers. But we still need to provide them with the opportunity to be able to grow their own food, and like I say, for the social and health benefits of gardening as well. It's just one of the things we want to continue to promote.
Well, I'm glad that the city, in council meetings that I've watched on Channel 11 there, on Shaw, I'm glad you're focusing on that because you know what? The Kelowna itself was built on farmland. My dad and mom's property, my grandfather's property on Ethel Street, there was 10 acres of beautiful, deep soil farmland. And we subdivided in 1962 with no cause for concern. Oh, well, the Burnett's are subdividing, and we just made them into lots, right? And we built new greenhouses because of that. And now what's left on that property is 3 acres that the hospital owns. But I'm just saying that the Capri was farmland. It was all farmland. And that's fine and dandy. Here we are. We're sitting there. We can't go back. But please, we got to put the brakes on because it's just so important to me. So important to me and my dad. Even before Dad passed away in 2002, we drove by some of this land, and he says, "Don, that land that they're chewing up there is some of the best farmland in Canada." And so we got to put the brakes on. We can't go back in history and say, "Well, we're going to change." But I'm pleased that you're putting the brakes on. And Colin, you're doing a great job. Thank you for calling in this morning. We're going to have to move on here, but good luck in your election campaign, and take care.
Awesome. Thanks to you, too.
Okay, buddy.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, now we're going to take another call, or we're going to take a break. We've been given the break sign, okay? And so that's what we're going to do, and we open the lines to your calls, 250-862-2525, and we'll be back with more AM 1150 Garden Show. Yeah, we are back with you on the AM 1150 Garden Show. It's a beautiful sunny fall day, and we are inviting Pam to the show. Good morning, Pam.
Good morning. Good morning. It is a beautiful day.
Oh, man.
I've got some yard cleanup in mind before it gets too cold and wet and miserable. I thought I would enjoy the warmer weather. And I'm just wondering if you can give me any tips on overwintering dracaenas and geraniums. I have somewhat limited space to store them, but I'd like to try and see if I can bring them through. I just wasn't sure what would be ideal for them. I can shoot for that.
Well, both will take a little bit of frost. The dracaena is a little bit more than your geraniums, and I say a little bit more. You know, if our winters only got to be -5, -8, the dracaena palm would come through outside like they do down at the coast. Once you get to -10, -12, for any length of time, your dracaenas are going to get nailed. So it's amazing where you can keep them. You can keep them generally. You can keep them in an unheated garage. Still in the? Are they in the ground or are they in the pot, Pam?
They're I have 3 dracaenas, and they are each in a pot, probably a foot or so square, maybe 14 inches square. So they're movable. They're quite portable.
Quite portable. Have you got a garage or you got a place?
I do have a garage. It has electric heat. It tends to be kept, not super warm in the winter, but it does have some heat. And I was wondering actually if the heat would be a deterrent. That would be a negative for them.
Well, is there light? Is there a window?
There's windows.
Okay, because if there's windows and there's light, and you keep that temperature down, just in that 5 degrees, 6 degrees, and of course on warm days in the wintertime, it's going to warm up in there because the window is going to have the greenhouse effect in there. Then those dracaenas are going to want to keep growing and doing their thing. It's fine to do that as long as you got the light. Otherwise, they get really spindly. They look for light and they get real spindly. Okay. Sure. So that would be fine for your dracaenas there. Let them get on the dry side, but don't let them totally dry right out, because I've had that happen over the winter. We've let our dracaenas dry right out, and they can suffer. But you want to let them get on the dry side between waterings. Maybe water them 3-4 times, maybe once a month. Maybe, I guess, in the wintertime, maybe once a month.
Okay.
Now, on the geranium side of things, you can overwinter geraniums. There's no question about that. And there's many, many ways of doing that. Are they in pots?
They
Or are they in the ground?
They are, but I was thinking of lifting them. They're in very tall pots. Like the pot is about 3 feet tall, and I wasn't thinking of dragging that around. I was going to lift the geranium out.
Well, lift them out. And, the old days, what we used to do is we used to lift them out, and the soil would all come off them. And then we put them, cut them back a little bit so some of the foliage is gone, because that foliage sometimes will promote, mold and things like that. Botrytis mainly. But if you take those and just let them dry out in a box with some peat moss around the roots and just let them kind of go dormant and dry, it's amazing. Once in the spring, what people do is they take those plants, they plunk them into a bucket of water, wait till they show a new shoot on the top. They'll see some shoots, then plant them back into some pots, and you can do that in March, April.
Okay. Now, what if I I could get peat moss. I guess I don't have it. Could I use compost?
Sure.
Or is that too dense?
Sure, be fine. Don't. Okay. Ken's going to say something here, and I think it's the dry part. Like keep it on the dry side.
Yeah, it needs to be dry.
Yeah.
That's what I wondered. Yeah. Dry leaves?
Yeah. Well, the peat moss is sort of the ultimate target because it's got just the right of moisture and just the right amount of oxygen in there. Plus, it's very acidic, so it doesn't allow certain fungus and viruses and bacteria will not grow in peat moss because it's acidic.
Right.
The leaves might promote that, right, Ken?
It could, you could end up with a rotting situation.
Pam, do you have any potting soil, just regular potting soil?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's pretty much peat moss right there.
Yeah, that would
okay. So just don't water it, just let it be dry.
Yep. The dry peat moss has 25% humidity.
Right.
That's
but if I take
standard.
the soil out of the bag, won't be like bone dry. Yeah. Just don't add water to it. That should be okay. Yeah. So just put the geraniums in a box.
And even when it looks bone dry, it still has 25% humidity. So that's the beauty of of it is it always maintains a very small amount of moisture.
Okay.
All right.
Beautiful.
Pam,
okay. Well, that's part of my day today.
Thank you for the call. We appreciate it. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
And on the line, we've got Henry. Good morning, Henry.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I was just listening to your show, and the mayor says that they're promoting community gardens, greenery, and I think that's great. The only community garden that I've seen is the one behind our Mission Park sports fields.
Yes, that's one. Another one on DeHart Road. And there's one right downtown. There's one right downtown on Costin, I think, or somewhere.
There's one, right on Costin and St. Paul.
Yeah, they're around, Henry. They're around, and as
every time when I look around, all I see is high rises.
I know, and that's where we're trying to steer into the more of the gardening thing. And Henry, as you know, gardening is good for our mental well-being, our health and mental health, and also just teaching the kids, because the kids are growing up not knowing where carrots come from,
Yeah, I know. I got some room here for 2 tomato plants, and I get enough tomatoes out of those 2 plants to keep me busy.
You betcha.
But I was just when I heard them saying all about all these gardens, I was just wondering where they are, because all I see is asphalt and high rises.
Yeah, well, and we're trying to steer in the right direction, and Colin's right behind that. But I'll tell you this: a lot of the I'm thinking of the Gordon Manor on Gordon Drive. I've done some work in there for some consulting in there, and they've got a big community garden going on there.
Spectacular.
Well, I think every new complex has to have a garden area.
Not quite as nice as the regular Nicotianas.
And it's based on the amount of gardening space, based on the number of units.
Yeah.
And it's a must. It's part of the building code now, which is fabulous.
That's a good thing.
That's good, yeah.
I think they're just fun to
grow.
thanks.
Henry, thank you for the call. We always enjoy hearing from you. Take care.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. 250-862-2525, and we're going to take... Oh, Thelma. Good morning, Thelma.
How are you?
We're well.
Good.
We're well.
Good. I have a silly question. I would like to know... I got a community garden, which you guys were talking about. Of my tomato plant, beefsteak, I would like to know, how do you get the seeds out of them so that I can replant them next year?
You know, you say that, and I can still see my dear dad in the greenhouse with his hands just mushing up the tomatoes, mushing them up, and spreading the seeds and, of course, the pulp on a piece of newspaper, Kelowna Courier probably, or the Capital News, and spreading that pulp and seeds out on the paper, letting it kind of dry out, and then picking the seeds out with the tip of his knife, just picking the seeds out once it dries, and picking the seeds out. Now, Ken, you've
That's
done
what
a lot
I do. I do the same thing.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it?
That's it, Thelma.
No secret.
Well,
it's got to be a nice.
For your help.
Yeah, it's got to be a nice ripe tomato, though.
Okay, well, see, I've already picked it, and it's sitting in my storage room there, and it's getting riper by the minute. And I was wondering, when do I cut it open? How long do I have to leave it set?
Well, I think you're...
As soon as it's nice and ripe and soft, starts to get a bit soft, they're good to go. Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Thelma. We appreciate the call.
All right, okay. Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I remember Dad doing that, but at the end of the season, by the time we got to the end of July... Even though we had lots of tomatoes still on the vines in the greenhouse, the field tomatoes were taking over. And the field tomatoes, of course, became the tomato to buy in the stores. And they were less money because they're grown in the field and whatever, you know. Yep. And so we had tomato fights. My brother and I, we would organize community tomato fights with the leftover tomatoes in the greenhouse. And Dad would save, of course, some of them. That was the old vendor variety, and he'd save the seeds, and so if you save the seeds going forward. I've done that with a variety that Sal Caruso, my buddy, has this very cool Italian large thing. It almost looks like a Roma, but it's 4 inches in diameter. So it's very meaty, very delicious. And I've done that for the first time in a long time. I've collected the tomato seeds. Probably the only time I've ever done it. And I just, as I was doing it, I was thinking of Dad doing his tomato mush. He was mushing them up. Do we go to a line? We're going to take a break. Oh, there's the signal. We're going to take a short break. We've got Teresa and Lee waiting in the sidelines because we're going to talk to you when we come back with more AM 1150 Garden Show. We are back with you, and we've got about 10 or 12 minutes left in the show, but we got 2 callers on the sidelines here waiting to talk to us, and we are welcoming Teresa to the phone lines. Good morning.
Got a question for you.
Yeah.
Last spring, I bought a flower in a pot. They're really new to me. It's called Rio, R-I-0. In one of the box stores here, and it didn't have no directions about whether it's a perennial or annual or what, but it bloomed really nice. Now, I don't know if I should just leave it there in a flower bed, or could I dig it out and try and keep it over winter in a garage, or what to do with it.
Teresa, we have to figure out what you've got. Ken's kind of doing a little quick research on Rio. You're saying R-E-O or R-I-O?
R-I-O. RIO.
RIO. It sounds like a variety of something, and hard to know exactly what it is. What does it look like?
It's really pretty. It didn't branch out much or grow too tall, but it just bloomed continuously. It has pink with white centers or flowers like little lilies.
Oh, little lilies, not daisy flowers, eh?
No, not daisy, like lilies.
Lilies.
And you don't have to dig them. The flowers would fall off.
Okay.
New flowers form in that same place.
Ken's found what we call diplodenia. Diplodenia, and that's an annual.
Annual.
So you'd have to, if you want to overwinter it, you're going to have to dig it, put it in a pot, and overwinter it as an annual. It's got kind of shiny leaves to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, diplodenia. Yeah, we used to sell those, actually, diplodenia.
Yeah.
Is that not like a mandevilla, almost?
Yeah, they are like a type. So they would probably survive. You can always try. You know, you're an avid gardener. If you have the energy to put it together, you know, and to dig it out, put it into a pot, water it really well outside. You know, maybe transfer it into potting soil a bit, and then slowly move it inside. You could always try and grow it as a house plant. It may not bloom much over winter, but if you could get it to live till next year, it would be quite a bit bigger and quite a bit stronger. But they would be, I think, classified here as an annual, but we'd call them a tender perennial. So that would mean that if you were living in Florida, they would likely survive from year to year.
Yeah.
But we're not quite Florida. Not quite.
Okay, well, I'll do that.
Give that a try. It's a beautiful plant.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
very much.
Thank you, Teresa.
Take care.
Isn't the internet great? I mean, back in the day when we started in 1983, if somebody called in about that, it would be a long, drawn-out affair. Have to look through all our books and you know.
Well, and it's always a bit of a guess because when we're talking about we've mentioned on the show before about common names and how you never quite know what you're going to end up with, but it does point you in the right direction.
But Rio is just a variety. Now we're going to have to take one more call. Lee, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Yep, we're here.
Okay, I have big cedars down my driveway, and midsummer they all of a sudden 6 big ones turned yellow and are on their dying. And I can't figure out how come all of the ones on one side and on the other side are not doing the same thing. Could they have been sprayed from next door, or what would cause just 6 of them out of a whole bunch?
Well, you know, that's the first thing people think of course, when you see some plants die. They think somebody's put something on the roots or something on the thing. That's rare to have that happen. However, when you see a few in a row doing something, there's a common denominator there. You know, Lee, it would take Ken or I a visit to check them out and just kind of dig around and see what's going on.
We're finding a lot of cedar borers getting in this year, and they're getting into the cedars, and they'll sort of start on one plant, and then they'll move to the next plant right beside them, and move to the next plant, and so on through the hedge. And so it is kind of it's difficult. They do kill the plant completely, but when those plants sometimes have to be removed, it's very difficult to replace them. And usually because of other diseases that also spread like that through the root systems, that we have to be careful to positively identify what the problem is before we try to replace them, because there is a disease that gets into the soil and it rots the roots. So if you did pull those cedars out, let's say, and put new ones in, they likely would not survive. But it's good to know, let's say, and it's the only way you can do that is by identifying, literally, when you pull them out, you have to cut the root and have a look inside. But anyway, at this point, I think that you need to try to investigate it a little bit more closely, maybe have somebody have a look at that, and and then maybe hopefully come up with a prognosis.
Lee, you can give me a call at home if you like. Where are you located?
On Lakeshore Road.
Lakeshore, okay. That's close to me. So if you give me a call, I'm in the book, or, if you've got a pen, 250-763-8087, you can call.
What was that, 250?
763
763
8087.
80 what?
8087.
8087.
Yeah, give me a call there, and we can discuss maybe an opportunity for me to pop out and just have a quick look to give you an idea of what might be going on there. Not suggesting that I can absolutely positively get it, but we can go from there. Okay, Lee?
Okay, thanks
Thank you, dear.
much.
Thanks for the call. We appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
And on that beautiful note, that last call of the day, we're going to go right back to giving our tips and plants of the week. Happy birthday, Teresa Hodge. That's first of all. My tip of the week is pick up some bulbs to plant out this fall. It's like buying little treasures that surprise you in the spring. My plant of the week is the fall crocus, both of them, the fall crocus, Crocus sativa, the saffron crocus, and colchicum.
And my tip of the week is that irrigation winterizations are happening now, and you need to be on somebody's list, so make the call if you haven't already. And my plant of the week was the barberries. We had a nice discussion about that at the beginning of the show, but they're just having a wonderful time at this time of year with their fall colors. Looking great as usual.
7 feet tall,
my favorite
more.
one was the Emerald Carousel. And it's a beautiful green-colored barberry with brilliant fall colors. That's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check KelownaGardens.com.
You betcha. And we have the Shigo
fragrant at night.
quote of the week coming up.
Not quite
and
as
I
nice
did
as
post
the regular
our picture, you and I, with Alex Shigo,
yes,
Dr. Shigo on Facebook.
Pretty interesting plant.
Want to have a look at that. We talk about Alex
Big
Shigo
leaves.
a lot on the show. And Ken and I had the opportunity and the honor to meet him not long before he passed away. So anyway, that's on my Facebook page, and I think maybe on Ken's because, hey, we were there. My Shigo quote of the week this week is, this is interesting, fruits are ripened ovaries and their attached parts.
Yes,
Put that in your salad. Okay, we're gonna take a big break, and we'll see you next week with more AM 1150 Garden Show.